fully recovered for the upcoming battle.
Alright, guys.
Grab a weapon to practice. Let's
I
see
want
if
to
you're
start
in
this
shape.
guide just by taking a look at the settings first. One thing you want to make sure you do, always go in here, check your sensitivity, make sure things work properly there, and then make sure the double tap with the direction key, you have it set the way you want. Those two are important. And UI, you want to check this box, map fief details. You'll wind up needing it if you get into territory wars. It'll help you tremendously. In graphics, usually it defaults to high, so sometimes you want to change that. In window mode, I prefer borderless, it's just easier on the system. In camera mode, it'll default to cinematic mode, which is absolute garbage. You want to change it to normal mode, it's way better. Then kill cam, turn that off. Basically what the kill cam for specific weapons do is it doesn't let you change your camera, it locks you in when you do certain ultimates, like the dual blade and poleaxe ultimates, the charges, it'll force you into a camera angle. You want to be able to look around while you're doing that, so always uncheck this box. Now, I already went over this sensitivity here, and steering with the mouse. I prefer this. You can steer with the keys, some people use that. That's basically what you see here. You don't have to change your camera, you can actually run in any direction with the WASD. I hate that, it drives me insane. I gotta use my mouse to steer me in a direction, but I'm a little weird like that. So, whatever works for you, I just recommend steering with the mouse. But that's it for settings. Just wanted to go over all that. That's one of the first things you'll want to do in this game. Now next is choosing a weapon. So there's two options on here that you can't see just yet, but I'll go over those later. It's Maul and Pike. So first is Short Sword. This is the tank. The guy that pops iron sides, which gives you a massive defense buff, and you go body slam, or belly flop as a lot of people will call it, on top of a kill box. A group of enemies that are basically clustered together like stalwarts and 40s to hold a choke point, like a gate. So this is Short Sword and Shield, or just Short Sword, is the weapon that is used to go belly flop those. And then the glaive, this one, it's a little underwhelming, but it has a little bit of CC. It does have a slam attack where you'll sort of do a somersault and smash your glaive on the ground and you'll put people on their knee. So, kind of fun. You do a decent amount of damage, and it's not that difficult to learn. Now, honestly, I have issues with them saying longsword and shield is an easy weapon. It's easy to pick up. Extremely difficult to be any sort of decent even with it. Honestly, if they put this in the moderate category, I'd say that would be more fair. But this is the healer. This is the support. You use this guy, this class, if you want to heal your team, give them buffs like speed and damage reduction, this is the class for it. Its offensive capabilities are kind of shit, but that's just because it's the healer. Now, Spear, unfortunately, lacks heavily in the offensive capabilities department. It's just a nuisance. It's one of those weapons that you poke people from a distance and annoy the hell out of them, but don't do much damage. Like, if you poke a Maul, you could probably kill a Maul if you're extremely good, if you're way better than the Maul. But a Maul player will normally just absolutely destroy any Spear player. Especially if they're of equal skill, the Spear will lose every single time. But it's a nuisance. And that brings us to the next two weapons. So, musket, you're a dick. There we go, summed up the whole weapon. But no, really, you can basically see most of its standard attacks. It's got the scatter shot, and then it's caltrops, which the caltrops you toss on the ground and it slows everything down by, I think it's 50%. It's a ridiculous slow. It's awesome, but also obnoxious at the same time. Depends on who you are, if you're the one using the musket or not. I main Maul, so I have to deal with them being a nuisance half the time, but Maul has an ability, their sprint, where you can ignore their little caltrops, so winds up balancing out. Now, you also have your firebomb and your explosive bomb. You toss these two on top of ranged units, and you'll wipe out most, if not all, of the unit. You do so much damage, you can throw it so damn far, it's stupid. Makes you one of the most annoying people on the battlefield. Fuck you if you play musket. You're also extremely valuable to your team, so people will come to your rescue if they see you getting caught and they have the ability to save you. A spear? Glaive? Probably not. Not really worth the trouble. You got yourself caught, you're dead. Good luck. It depends on if you're playing with friends, of course, at that point. But shortbow, this weapon is also just about as bad as musket. It has an extreme amount of CC, but is less effective against units. It's more of a hero killer. So, I would say out of these three weapons, poleaxe, musket, and shortbow, these are the three best classes in the game. And shortbow is probably, I would say, in third, just because it's a great hero killer, but terrible against units, I guess would be a better way of putting it. But that's just because you can put people on their knee, you can stun them, you can knock them off their horse, you can poison them. You have everything in your kit with shortbow to be the most annoying person in the world. You will have people send you death threats. But, no. Jokes aside, moving on to the poleaxe. This is the best class in the game for PvP. When you're going against other heroes, there is not a class in the game that will beat you while you're using poleaxe, unless you are an absolute failure. This belongs in the easy category. This weapon is stupidly easy to use, gives you anti-CC, a retarded amount of fucking CC for other people. You have a charge that you can just shove your poleaxe into their chest, take out a quarter to half their health depending on if they're heavy or light armor, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. It has the biggest hitbox in the fucking game. It's stupid. Fuck poleaxe too. But then again, the thing why I'm not going to say poleaxe, I guess, is necessarily broken, in PvP, just player versus player, without units, it is broken. But if you put units in the mix, they're not that good about clearing units like some other classes are, like Maul. Maul is amazing against units and decent against players. Why I say decent, anybody that knows anything about the classes will be like, but you can pick people up. Guess what, motherfuckers? In a duel, we're the slowest fucking class in the game, so fuck you. So, moving on from poleaxe, longbow. Honestly, I would love to play longbow, but it needs like a 20 to 30% damage increase. This is the sniper class. You can sit on top of a wall and hit units that are in the back of the map, fucking 2 miles away, and you'll do full damage. It's like 2,000 to 4,000 per hit. If you're hitting headshots, you can hit upwards of like 6,000. Granted, I believe that's only with a legendary bow in the perfect setup, but yeah, longbow is the worst class in the game. So, yeah, it needs a buff. Something fierce. And when you charge up your basic attack, it devours your stamina bar. But then again, to make up for it, you do have one of the game's best escape moves. You can jump a mile back to avoid anything. So you can also, it's the one of the only classes I've seen get out of a poleaxe charge. You can jump so far back that you jump out of range of their poleaxe charge. So it's awesome. They got to do something to make up for it, right? Their explosive arrow knocks everything away. It's sort of like a miniature belly flop from a short sword, but you can do it from range. Then you have the buckshot or spread shot. I call it a buckshot because when someone gets in your face, you charge that fucker up as they're coming towards you, and right when they're at point blank range, you get them in the head with it. You'll take out half of heavy armor class's health if you catch them in the face. You'll do ridiculous damage. So that's one of the cool things. I would say the only thing that needs to be changed about longbow is their basic attack damage. Their basic attack headshot damage should be able to crit with a max build if you catch them in the head for at least 10,000, 10 or 11,000. Because it's difficult enough to catch people with those headshots with how active combat is and the fact that it devours your stamina bar. Longbow, unfortunately, in PvP, PvE against units or heroes, isn't that good. Unfortunately. I would love to play bow, honestly. If they buffed longbow, you'd see me playing it instead of maul. Probably. I do like maul. So, dual blade. This is another one of my favorites. You're the ninja. You can go invisible. You have two invisibilities. One that lasts, I think it's 6 seconds. Okay, yeah, this one right here where you jump backwards. You can avoid just about every attack. You jump back pretty far and you're invis for like 6 seconds. Or there's a 30-second invisibility that most people will use. You drop smoke and you go invisible for 30 seconds. You can just run around invis. It's pretty fun. You can use it to like sneak into bases and stuff. Now, it is fairly easy to catch people while they're invisible. Like, you can see the glimmer from their invisibility here in the video. It's very easy to spot that. So, a little bit of a trade-off, but they are also a light armor class, super squishy. If a dual blade gets caught, they're dead. Every class in the game except for longbow can kill a dual blade if they see it. So, yeah. Now, moving on to Nodachi. Nodachi, I mean, I'm glad they gave them a buff, because they did need it. Now they're probably the best unit killer in the game, purely because they can just keep going. Their whole thing is every hit, they can steal life from everything they hit. So against units, they can just keep slashing and just keep healing themselves. The more damage they do, the more they heal. And they just keep going and going and going and going. So, I would say Nodachi would be moderate. And that would make more sense. I wouldn't say they're a hard class, but unfortunately their ultimates, both of them, are shit. I don't know of any Nodachi players that use either of the ultimates, because they suck. Every Nodachi player I know, they're always using 4 of the basic abilities. I don't know the class all too well, but I do know the basis of it. It doesn't have a ton of CC, crowd control, so unfortunately, I wouldn't say underwhelming, but I have respect for Nodachi players that can go toe-to-toe with me with my maul in PvP, because it does take a decent amount of skill where I just hit 2 buttons and spin. So the next thing I want to go over here is the intro. So when doing the intro, literally just follow your quests and complete them. Like so, just each NPC. Basically like any typical MMO that you may have already played. The intro is, go talk to this person, complete this quest. Just do that until it tells you to go into a siege. Now, when it goes into a siege, you can see all the keys up top here for your profile, units, inventory, quests, and this will be for friends, house, store, market, events, and activities, mailbox. And this is for attire chests. These, unfortunately, are cosmetic, forgetting the word here. You have to pay for them. Paid cosmetics. And the War Scholar, I'll show later. So I just wanted to show the beginning, so you know what's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and swap over to my main character and show you some other stuff. So what I want to go over here first are the two classes I mentioned that I would go over later. So I main Maul. Now, Maul, it's a special class, I guess you could say. It's a seasonal class. You have to unlock through seasonal challenges. I have everything unlocked. I paid for it, like I mentioned earlier. So, with this, you have 4 abilities. So you have the grab. Everybody hates this one. Now, in this video, that's a player. If you grab an NPC, you just pick them up and toss them back to the ground, doing quite a bit of damage. But it's devastating because you can grab enemy heroes and drag them over to your units off a cliff, and you can just toss them, you know, wherever you want. You can have your way with them. You can be easily CC'd out of it by hard CC, so stuns, knockdowns, they'll make you drop the person you're carrying. So be a little careful, but otherwise it's a fairly quick move and easy to grab people. Next, we're going to have Bonebreaker. So this move right here is nice. And of course they don't really show the whole move. Basically what you want to do is use Mighty Mjolnir into Bonebreaker. And that gives you the ultimate spin. You do tremendous damage, ignore block and armor, tear through enemy formations, stagger heroes. It's just ridiculous. Its damage is outrageous. And it's one of the other reasons why Maul is such a nasty class. Yeah, here it's showing all of the spins. Now, most people run Uko's Doom because it's extremely fast and gets you up from the ground the fastest, but all it is a baby slap. You just basically bitch slap somebody when you get up, and you stagger them a little bit. I don't like it. It's not the greatest, but what I would recommend is Up from Hell. It's 4 swings, and the last swing knocks people on their back. Now, for some reason in this video, it doesn't knock them down, but it knocks units and heroes down. I think the only thing you won't knock down is an Iron Reaper or Modao. But other than that, everything else gets knocked on its back. Next thing with the Maul that I want to go over is their second ultimate, which is basically a slam. It's an AoE knockdown, and you just slam the ground and hit everything around you. And then, aside from that, the other move you have is Maelstrom. You'll see the move on the left. That one just spins around really quickly, similar to Bonebreaker, but it's faster. Doesn't do nearly as much damage, but it knocks everything away. You're basically a bowling ball, knocking down bowling pins. So that would be the 2 moves. Maul is really good against units, good against heroes, not so great at staying alive when you get caught. Now, next weapon is Pike. This is another seasonal weapon, and it has a few, I guess, caveats, you could call it. All of its 3 primary skills are on the same cooldown, 3 seconds, and then it has its ultimate. As you can see, that ultimate where it twirls its spear, it does decent damage, staggers everything. It's not amazing though. The other ultimate, which is a charge, that one is the one you want to unlock through the challenges and use, because it does tremendous damage, gives you anti-CC while you charge it up, and basically allows you to delete ranged units. Like if you come across a set of Falcos, you'll wipe out the entire Falco unit. Now, the pike, for its basic gameplay, is a very fast weapon. It's arguably the fastest weapon in the game. I think dual blades might be on par when it comes to speed, but definitely not power. It's a powerful weapon as well, a good hero killer. As a pike, if you get caught, it's because you're an idiot. Pike does not get caught. It twirls like a stupid little fairy out of fights. And in these seasonal challenges, you'll see they open up Pike there, and you get Maul from Season 3. So, yeah, that's how you unlock those classes. Another thing I want to bring up is bandit raids. These are extremely important. Just starting out especially, you need to make sure you do your 5 bandit raids a week. These give insane rewards, and they give an astronomical amount of unit XP, which is extremely important in leveling up your troops. I just did one and got 170,000 XP. That's huge. You can actually get more than that too. I just don't have the XP buffs I need to get that much. I believe you can get a max of like 300,000 from each one, if you have all of the XP boosts from the game. So, it's awesome. I definitely recommend looking into it, and then you get all of those rewards. So, yeah. Definitely take a look at them, guys, when you get the chance. Bandit raids, fucking important. Another thing I want to go over, guys, is these vault keys. I, of course, have a ridiculous amount of them because I have premium. But you only get a set amount of these every week. You can open 15 a week, but if you're not premium, you won't earn that many, and sometimes you'll have to purchase them. And the vaults are definitely worth opening. They're amazing. But if you don't have the keys for them, you don't get to open them. So they are usually anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 silver on the market, depending on what players are selling them for at the time. Otherwise, you can get premium and you'll earn 16 keys a week. So even if my premium runs out, I'll still have the keys to open them, which once it runs out here in a few months, I probably won't even bother refreshing it because I have so many fucking vault keys. It's a good problem to have, I guess. But definitely what I recommend here is opening all the vaults you can every week. Gives you all sorts of different rewards. Silver, bronze. Like I just made 20,000 silver doing my 5 bandit raids and opening all 5 vaults, because you get a vault every bandit raid. You can also get vaults randomly from completing sieges and field battles. So open them every chance you get. Alright guys, so I just wanted to add in collecting all your dailies. So the first thing that'll happen when you log in every day is you'll get this rewards pop-up screen. Or you can hit O to get it to pop up. And you sign in, you get your free thing. And each day has its own free reward. You can just, there it goes. Hover over, I was clicking on it. But each day you'll get a free reward. You can log in for that. That's it. You just log in. Free stuff. But then you can hold tab, you can look at the map, and it's the billing officer, sheriff, and warden. You can get your dailies from all 3 of them. I think you start getting them once you complete the story quests to a certain degree, or it's when you're like about level 15, 20, I think, and you start collecting these dailies. You can ignore this one. This is just because I'm working on axe raiders right now. As depressing as it is, I hate axe raiders. They're just a little broken. Hate Keshigs just as much right now. But I'm sure they'll change. All seasonal units do. But aside from that, you have the duel list. Fight someone in a duel, whether you win or not, doesn't matter. A lot of people will just challenge you to a duel randomly, and they're not trying to actually fight you. Granted, a lot of them will just fight just to make it go faster. They literally just want their daily. That's 99% of duels in this game. And then you got your daily victory. Just got to win 1 out of the 5 battles that they want you to play. So 5 battles, 3 battles. And as you can see from these quests, they give honor, house XP when you're in a house, and then bronze and hero XP. Now, hero XP, I'll go into that real quick. So I'm level 777, which is awesome, by the way. I didn't realize I'm about to ruin it, but when I was level 666, I made sure to save a screenshot. Yeah, I'm stupid. Get over it. But once you hit about level 100, you'll start getting into a tier of gameplay that's a bit higher. Everyone in there will be in the ballpark of 100 to about 500. So you'll notice a jump in difficulty of players that you're actually going against once you hit level 100. Then once you hit level 500, you'll notice a bigger jump. That's where your pool of players that you'll get paired with when you're by yourself queuing just opens up. You can land in a game with anyone. You could land in a game with someone that's level 3000. Granted, at that point, the level doesn't mean very much other than the amount of time they've played. Whether they're a skilled player or not is where it comes into play. Now, most of these guys, especially myself, have maxed out characters, so the games will get more difficult to perform well in. You yourself will have to start performing well. But that's just a little bit on the difficulty. The next daily quest here is public service. You just got to go complete a thief quest. I showed those off earlier, and I'll actually show me completing all of those open world or overworld dailies here in a moment. And then billeting officer, you got lost and found, those random huts and stuff that I showed off. And then natural wealth, that's just where you got to run out and go harvest. And then on patrol, kill a band of rebels. Doesn't matter what difficulty. So you just run over. Ugh, forgetting what I'm looking for. Oh, it's too early for this shit. I normally don't put much thought into what I'm doing here. Done it about 1,000 times, so I just bring Cav so I can run down the rebels. Makes it fast. But you pop out here once it finishes loading. And I like to do it this way, or another way to do fief quests is if you're inside of the fief, you can click on it and go here and complete it. And it says go to because I'm not actually in the fief right now. But because I'm right outside of it, just click on it, go to overview, fief quests, or you can just click on fief quests, it brings you to this page. And I like to do the ones with the purple chests, just so I get that extra purple reward. Some days you'll find yourself doing a bunch of fief quests, but that's dependent on if you're at the end of the week, or if you're in a house and the house liege is telling you, hey, we need a bunch of fief quests done today for like house XP or funds or something. They'll call that out. So definitely something to keep in mind. But like I said, go collect the cart, band of rebels right over there, and then I'll go grab some food because I don't really care about harvesting resources right now. But if you do have a specific resource that you want, it's usually a good idea to open up the map, and then you just got to zoom in once with your scroll wheel and just look around for the resource that you actually want. And then when you find it, you just go collect from it. And if it's in an enemy fief, you can literally just use a requisition token. And I'll show that to you here in a moment. I'll actually run over here. Now, while I'm running over here, I just want to show, so you can actually open up your wagon that way, or you can hit I and then do it that way. I usually do it hitting I for inventory and opening it up. Next thing is pitch camp. You can only do this outside of TW, and this is basically if you're out and about running around, you can pitch camp so that you're able to queue for sieges and stuff. It doesn't find a use a lot, but it is something you can do every once in a while, or you'll find yourself wanting to do. If you got a group that wants to queue right now, someone's short on time or whatever, you can just pitch camp. It takes, I think, 10 or 20 seconds, and then hit the queue button. All right, now the next one, this one's important, return to camp. So you cannot use if you have artillery or anything in your wagon. And you can either go to the capital of the current area that you're in, or you can return to your camp. Now this can be used anywhere. So my camp is currently Algolia. Let's say I was clear down here in Regionopolis for whatever reason, if we were for TW getting ready to attack a city or whatever, then I would just hit return to camp. But I would have to make sure there's nothing in my wagon. Now, if we were down there for TW, I'd probably have artillery, and I'd probably walk the 20 minutes it would take all the way back up to Algolia. Fucking nightmare, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. But normally in this situation, if I was that far away, or like if I'm recruiting in Conqueror City, then I would just be naked, or I would have some cav on me, just so I could do my dailies still while I'm over there. And then when I was ready for TW, I'd just return to my camp with that. So, very important function right there. Another one that I actually didn't know about until recently, I just never needed it, never really thought about it, is you can open up your units, and you'll wind up seeing everyone in your group. You can't mess with their units, but you can mess with yours. And the first unit here is the one that comes out automatically when you go against rebels or you get pursued. So if you're in TW and you're going to get basically rushed or invaded, you can choose and you can just click it and change it. And then there's field camps. This is only ever used by seneschals and lieges, basically the officers of a house. And you'll come to an F4 quest. So, I don't even know. Oh, I can open them. Sweet. I completed them so long ago. But the hardest fief quests are going to be in here. And there's this. Use a field camp. Now, this one's a little misleading. You can actually just go click on a field camp from anybody, ally or enemy. Once you click on it, you get that quest. And then join 2 territory wars. That one's easy enough. And then, where is it? There's one where you have to get 2 MVPs in a battle. I don't remember where it's at. Oh, here it is, all the way down here. So this one's a bit of a pain in the ass. Unless you have friends willing to rig this system for you, there's no real way to just easily get MVP anymore. It used to be field battles, but if you're a high level, if you're like 150 plus or 100 plus, getting MVP is going to be a pain in the ass. I recommend getting to this stage as quickly as possible before you hit level 100, preferably if you can, and then doing that. Granted, there are a few that require you to be a certain level, so I don't know if that's even possible. I don't even remember these quests, honestly. I completed most of them just randomly. Yeah, I don't know. But definitely try to do this quest if you can before you hit level 100. And preferably get into a house as quickly as you can. Try to find a group of guys. Most houses are willing and ready to teach new players. The houses that aren't are the houses that are dying or going or already dead. So ignore people like that. I have come across many, many houses. There are houses, well, honestly, only one house that I have an issue with, and they're ready to teach their new players. And there will be houses that'll hold training nights and stuff. I definitely recommend getting involved with that house to a certain degree, whatever you're looking for. Some houses don't really get involved in TW, they just run sieges for fun. If that's what you're looking for, look for a house like that. Granted, in this game, you're going to be very hard-pressed to find a super casual house like that that's going to be active and have a lot of members. The houses that are active and have a lot of members, you can join them, like our house, the Fallen. We don't necessarily require you to show up to TW. We require you to go click a button in our Discord whether you're coming or not. So if you don't show up for 2 months to TWs, but you're active playing sieges, we're fine with that. We do want you to show up to TW. We are heavily TW focused, but as long as you're active, that helps us. So if you're active, it shows other new people that join that we are an active house, that we're constantly trying to go, go, go. And eventually we will get more and more people that'll be doing TW. So a lot of houses will be very similar to that. Some things will be changed in a certain way, but that's all player choice, whatever you're looking for. And it's easy enough to leave a house and join another. Like, unless you make yourself notorious in the community, which isn't that difficult. I've met a couple of players that pretty much the entire community hated because it's a small community. You make yourself hated, and whew, this ain't World of Warcraft. You will get yourself shunned and kicked from many, many houses. So try not to be too much of a dickhead. That part's even difficult. You gotta basically scam people to get everyone to hate you. That's why there's not a list of people. There's just a few. And I don't even think they play the game anymore because they were shunned by the entire community. Once you get shunned by the community, like even people that don't know your name for whatever reason will be told eventually. If they see you, that person that they hate, in another house, they'll go to that liege of that house and be like, hey, you know you have this scumbag in your house, and get you kicked. So that's another thing to watch out for. Don't be a just absolute grade A terrible person, and you'll be fine. You can honestly like field people constantly out in the open world as long as you're just normally playing the game. You're not cheating or scamming people. Nobody's really gonna hate you long term. Yeah, sure, you steal someone's resources by fielding them out in the open world, they're gonna come after you. Or at least I would. I'd hunt you down. I'd figure out what house you are, where your house is located, put a band of guys together, and we would field the ever-living fuck out of you for probably a couple of weeks. We'd go out of our way to make you miserable. But that's just house versus house kind of stuff. Another thing I want to add here is when you're doing the seasonal challenges, you're going to wind up getting a certain quest. With Shenji's, I already completed it, but it is... Here it is. Use 4 units from different eras in a siege or field battle. And various unit challenges and seasonal challenges will have that. And you have to actually pull out four of the 5 types of units. So white, green, blue, purple, or gold. You have to pull out each one in that battle to get credit for it. Alright guys, next thing I want to talk about is the seasonal challenges. So, as you can see here, with the seasonal challenges, you have a few options. Any season that's been released previously, you can go into and just start it. You just click on it, go over here, and start seasonal challenge. I've completed this entire season here. I would argue that this is probably the best season to start, Season 3, just because it's got a lot of TW-focused units. The 40s are the key to TWs, and recommended by every single house in the game, period. Anybody that says 40s are trash needs to uninstall the game. Unless you're saying it as a joke and be a dick. But I have friends that will do that. Valkos, mobile artillery. That's literally what they are. That's a cannon on his back. Pavis crossbowmen, one of the best backline support units in the game still. And, I mean, they're an old unit. They tear through armor. And then there's Maul. That's why I'd say, like, everything in here is great. None of this is mediocre. So that's why I'd say start with this season. But otherwise, if you don't like any of those unit choices, you can look at all the seasonal challenges and decide what you want to do. Now, next thing is dailies. Now, you'll get to a certain point, I think it's around level 20, that you'll be able to start doing daily challenges. Now, you'll see I have a few of them here, 5 battles, 3 battles, victory, duel. And then you'll also get ones for collecting stuff out in the open field, fief quests and stuff. I'll show you that here in a moment. But you'll always want to collect these every single day before you start doing anything else. They're a great, like, injection of bronze, silver, and everything else. You want to do them. Try to do them every day if you have the time, but otherwise, as often as you can. Whenever you're playing, you pick them up and do them. Otherwise, there is a feature that lets you actually complete them later for lesser rewards. So if you don't do your daily quests, it'll let you get 60% of the rewards, basically. So, unless you want to use the pay-to-win option, Sovereigns, but really not worth it at that point. Unless you just have money that you want to burn, I guess. But yeah, even if you don't complete the weekly or daily challenges, you can turn around and just force complete them with bronze. It is fairly expensive. Your currencies in the game, you have bronze, which is as you can see, the most abundant. You get a lot of it per game, and you use it to buy almost everything. Now, you also use bronze to repair your units. Now, silver, you use this on the market, for market items, or if you want to move your camp. And these you'll also get from games and doing daily and weekly challenges. Honor, this is how you unlock stuff in your unit tree. You earn that from just about everything you do in the game. And this is the pay-to-win currency, the premium, the Sovereigns. So, that's all the currencies. Another thing here, you have your War Scholar, which is X. Now, you seen a couple of scrolls in my inventory earlier. You can use those to activate this, get doctrines, which are add-ons to your units, or get these tokens, basically, if you want to call them that. I can't really pronounce that, signaculum or whatever. You get tokens to slowly unlock units rather than having to pay bronze for them. So, or not bronze, honor. Instead of having to pay honor for them, you can unlock them through that, but it's like 20 of these tokens and you only get one of them per pull, or like 5 if it's blue or green. But yeah, that's one option you have to unlocking units. Now, just to show you the scrolls, the Ancient Treaties are a special type. that I currently don't have, and I just opened a pouch and got myself a little silver because I'm running real low on silver right now. But there's those options. Now, next thing here that I want to go over is the weekly quests. So the weekly quests are, again, extremely important. They're a good source of bronze, experience, valor, or glory is what they call it. And that's for the battle pass. Gets you free rewards, basically. Yeah, it's just, you can get artillery from it. You just want to work on these weekly challenges whenever you get the chance. I definitely recommend them, and then you get these rewards. It's a great source of honor as well. So, definitely do those. Now, next thing here, when you hit M to open your map, you can see all of the towns and stuff. I'm currently in Agolia. And you can see this red flag. That means that my camp is here in Agolia. Now, if you go to overview for any of these cities or villages, you'll get thief quests. This is really the only thing you need to be too bothered with. You can see the quest rewards if you complete it. These were just recently added, and they're amazing. Great add-on. You can see it requires certain resources. A lot of these resources you just run out into the open world and get. Some you have to kill bandits for, like these. You have to go do bandit, either rebel camps, or you have to kill rebels out in the field. These you go to the farms you'll see out here. So you can see food, cotton, quarry, stuff like that. They're all over. And the different rarities will determine what types of resources you get from them. So that's one thing you can do out in the open world. It does cost bronze every time you want to actually harvest. It's best to bring a team of 5 serfs when you want to go harvest. And serfs are these guys right here. And the reason why you do that is because increase collected resources right here. So yeah, definitely a great option to have 5 of those when you go out into the open field just to harvest, because it'll just crank up the amount of resources you pull. So next thing I want to go over is your character. So you get attribute points. Strength, as you can see here, it's slashing and blunt damage. I'm all in strength because I'm a maul. I just want to kill stuff. And then agility is for archers for piercing damage. And then armor, if you want to be a tank. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for short sword because short sword relies heavily on its iron sides for survival rather than armor. You can go full strength instead just to have a bit more damage. Toughness is just health. Now, every single week you do get a reset, so you can reset all your points, like so. And I'm just going all into strength, I don't care. I'm just holding shift and left clicking to add all the points. But yeah, every week you get that free reset. I'm not too bothered by it because I'm staying full strength. Doesn't bother me none. And then of course you got your title, that's just cosmetic though, it's whatever. Now your armor. I have some good pieces of armor, but this shit gets expensive real fucking quick. And you can recondition and craft new pieces. I have the guardsman set, and I have leadership. Leadership is extremely important. So leadership can increase the amount of troops you can bring. So you see my leadership here, 759. That's decent. I think the max leadership is 800, if I remember correctly, 25 on each piece of armor. And I'm trying, but God damn, it's just a pain in the ass to get that. But I've easily reconditioned all those pieces you've seen maybe 40 times each. I've poured a ton of resources into them. And I'm really getting tired of re-rolling them, if I'm being completely honest. But the resources for re-rolling them, you can't use those resources anywhere else, so I'll probably keep doing it just because I can. At least on the pieces that aren't epic or legendary yet. Until they're all epic, then I'll start re-rolling the epics to get them to legendary. But yeah, as you can see, going back to the leadership here, you can see I'm able to hold a little bit of an extra unit. Instead of a green, I can grab a blue. Without the 50, I would have to bring like Pike Militia, but I can bring Noms instead. So that's cool. Ignore the Axe Raiders. These guys, once I'm done with that quest, they're getting gone real quick. You're a scumbag if you use Axe Raiders. Fuck you, by the way. God, they're such a filthy unit. I feel like a scumbag using them. It's terrible. Alright. Moving on. So, I was talking earlier about harvesting. Every time you harvest, you will get collection XP. And you can use that XP to upgrade this stuff. As you can see, I can do that. And the upgrades don't take any time. It's the collection XP that takes a long time. You only get like 200 to 300 every time you harvest. So it takes quite a bit to just upgrade. It's taken me months just to get this far. But then again, I don't harvest maximum like almost at all. I think I've only had 2 or 3 weeks where I actually capped on resource collection. Yes, you can actually hit your maximum amount of times that you can harvest. I think it's 40. I'm not entirely sure. Just because I don't ever pay attention to it. The amount of resources it costs to harvest that many times, and you wind up having to use requisition tokens to do it. I have 183, so I guess I could go nuts if I wind up with a ton of bronze at some point, but I'm fucking broke, so yeah. Next thing I want to talk about is mercenaries. So these guys are important when you're starting out. I almost never grab mercenaries anymore because I have all the units I want, but it took me months to get there. Now, berserkers are a good choice. I could recommend these guys. They're just monsters. They tear through everything. I've never used these guys, but I've heard they're decent. Silidars are good. Not the greatest, but, you know, mercenary. You don't lose kits or anything, and they come with predetermined doctrines. So, not terrible. And then Rotten Rangers are, of course, okay. I wouldn't say they're even decent, honestly. Rotten Rangers are eh. And then, here's the actual mercenaries. I guess these are auxiliary, and then these are mercenaries. These motherfuckers are pay to win. And Martys are actually one of the better ones to get. Honestly, out of all these, if you're going to get any of them, you'd want to get the Martys, but they're fucking $50. Or if you want to somehow build up 700,000 silver. Good luck with that. I don't think I've ever seen over 300,000 silver. So, yeah. I mean, honestly, if I went super hard into farming, I could probably build that up in a couple of weeks, but oh, the amount of time I would burn on it. No thanks. No thanks. Alright, another thing I want to go over is doctrines on units, and I'm not going to use her. Doctrines on units. So, I got my Pavis here, and you can see all the purple doctrines, epic doctrines I have on him. You can equip or unequip them. Unequipping, getting rid of them to remove a doctrine, costs Lotus Water. And I have a ton of it because I almost never use it, so I can remove whenever I want. But Lotus Water takes a while to build up. I think you only get like 50 of it a season or something. I don't know. I don't know what the actual count is. Maybe 100 a season. fuck if I know. I don't ever pay attention. I just buy everything in the seasonal store and then bronze. All of the consumable items anyways, because I don't care about cosmetics. They're just kind of there. When I earn them, and I use them. Otherwise, I'm not going to spend any of the money. So, speaking of seasonal store, so we have your weekly challenges. These you get temporary doctrines. These last a few days that you can equip. Then you got the battle pass. You get rewards and stuff. You can get these treaties, blades, which is for the seasonal store, which I mentioned. We'll get to that here in a moment. So as you can see, just as you play, you wind up unlocking this. The top line is pay to win. I purchased it, and the bottom line is for everybody, as you can see over here. I don't think there's been a season while I've been playing, because I've been playing since Season 6, that I haven't bought this Season Pass, so it's worth it. They definitely give you, as long as you play a lot, it gives you a ton of rewards, and I would say it's worth it as long as you play a lot. If you don't play a lot, don't waste your money. If you will 100% unlock up to at least level 100, it's worth it. And after 100, you still get, decent rewards. Every 5, you're getting all the blades. So, it's nice. I think the first season that I played, I actually made it to like 250. I don't think I've ever made it that far since, so we'll see if I make it this season. Maybe I can hit 300. Who knows? But, moving on, seasonal runes. So, seasonal runes are just special effects for your armor. You've seen those little slots on my armor, and you can see the rune power it takes. So, some pieces only have 3 rune power, so you can just equip that, and that's it. Or it has 5, and you can equip 5 rune power worth of runes. So, I'll show you that here. So, right here, 5 rune power. You can equip 5 runes worth of stuff. So, there's that for an option. Now, the seasonal store. So, cosmetics. Lots of cosmetics. Blah, blah, blah. Don't care, don't care, don't care. Lotus water. I actually don't care about that. Because I have 149 Lotus water left. I don't care about Lotus water. I just buy bronze. And you can buy infinite of this. So, this is where I'm going to be spending all my blades. Just buying bronze. Bronze, 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 bronze. Because I've already bought everything else that I want. So, yeah. Fun. So, next thing on the agenda today that I want to go over is crafting and reconditioning. Well, first, since we're here, apothecary. So every week, this bitch resets, and their inventory is supposed to be linked throughout all the apothecaries in the game. So if you buy something and buy out the stock of it at one apothecary, you've bought it out throughout the entire game in all of them. So you can see remaining. This comes with 30 a week. And I, of course, bought it. You want to get into the habit of buying the 30 every week, if you can. It does cost a decent amount of bronze, so until you start playing a lot, you might not be able to afford it. This is something I recommend if you want to buy ahead of time, but this is for when you want to move your camp somewhere else. In the same region, it only costs 1 of these migration tokens. If, say, you want to move from Osteria, and you want to move down to Olveris, that would cost you 1,500, so 15,000, so 3 migration tokens. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. When moving your camp, it can get expensive. Now, next, the artisan can salvage just scrap any armor or weapons you don't want to use, don't want to sell, don't want to do anything with. And you can alter your equipment appearance, but you can actually do that in your profile as well, so whatever. Now, here's where things get fun. Reconditioning. So you can actually slap this in here and it tells you, you need these before you can recondition it. In reconditioning, you usually, unless you're trying to get a specific stat, you usually want to wait until the endurance hits a really low value. Like right now you can see my maul is 39 of 230. You can actually repair it and it'll reduce the maximum endurance. So instead of it being 230 maximum endurance, that will get lowered to like 210 or something like that. It's not time to repair it, so I'm not about to waste it. Or fuck it, you know what? We're gonna do it. So, repair. Hit that. Cost me 17,000 bronze. And you see it went down to, oh Jesus Christ, 183. So, you're welcome, guys. I may or may not regret doing that. There, now you get to see how bad it is. But yeah, that happens to your armor and everything too. And once the maximum endurance gets too low, you have to bring it here and recondition it, or you have to make a whole new weapon, whichever comes first. And the reconditioning will set its maximum endurance back to full. So whatever full endurance happens to be for that item. And then over here, you can craft weapons. Come down here to blue and purple stuff. You need the blue or purple schematics. The purple stuff, pretty much nobody uses because they're near impossible to obtain. And because you can almost never get these, like here, you can, yeah, there's nothing on the market. I guarantee you almost every single one of these, there's going to be none on the market for me to even show you. But it gives you a better chance of getting a legendary version. Where here, if you go to the blue, it's blue, purple, or legendary. So it's slightly better. But reconditioning has the chance of increasing the rarity of it as well. So something to think about. Alright. So next thing you want to keep in mind is when you want to leave town. Or I guess we'll get to that here in a moment. So next thing you want to keep in mind is your mounts. So what I recommend, if you wind up with the money, you can buy a few mounts just so you have 4 of them. So when one gets killed in a battle, you'll wind up being able to equip another. If you look in my profile here, under mount, I have 4 of them, 1 purple. So this is the armor. The armor doesn't have, okay, it does have endurance, and it repairs just like other armor. And then these guys, they have, what's it called? Alright, I guess they don't. Whatever. Alright, so we'll skip that. Next thing I want to talk about is when you want to leave a town, village, you just want to look for the watchman. You can actually find him by just looking up here. When you hold tab, and the watchman will be right here. You can even click on it and it'll auto-track you to it. And then you can leave thief, and you can choose what artillery you want to bring with you, units, whatever. When you get to the open world, this is basically what it's going to look like. can see an abandoned camp over here. You gotta collect one of these for your daily quest. Abandoned camp, or let's see if it'll show me anything else. There's like an abandoned hut version, but they're all pretty much the same thing. They're just a loot site on the map. You just walk up to it, collect it, get something random. Next thing you want to keep in mind is these trading posts. When you start rolling in silver, these trading posts are actually really valuable. I believe today this one has a purple ballista, if I remember correctly. And this changes every day, the inventory they have. You have a purple ballista and a purple grape shot. And you can only buy so many. It's usually 2. I think that, yeah, this one's just 1. But it costs a good amount of silver. It's still cheaper to buy them here than it is to buy them on the actual market, the player market, where players will post stuff. Like if we look, ballista, whoops, resource market, ballista, so optimal ballista, none on the market. How about grape shot? Alright, these are 15,000 apiece. These are actually cheaper. Yeah. So actually the resource market is going to be a bit cheaper for some of them. So actually keep an eye on that. I do know some of them are cheaper to purchase from these trade posts, so just keep your eyes out. Alright, and then the next thing here, I'm going to go ahead and speed things up. This is the force march. You can make your unit march at maximum speed possible. And then you got a farm over here, and then a quarry over here, and I'm just holding right click to spin my camera. You can see rebels all over here. Then you hit gather. I'm not going to bother gathering because it's a waste of bronze for me. But it just takes 20 seconds, and then you see I clicked on this guy. Just start battle. There are aggressive rebels. Their symbol will be red instead of orange. And they'll actually, when you get near, they'll run after you. They'll start pursuing you.
Hurry up! Form up!
Fall in!
Unit, assemble! Get in position!
With the rebels, the easy ones.
Get in position! Victory!
Easy rebels. Just run them down.
Unit, assemble! Attack at will!
There we go. And this is how you get some of the other items you'll need for those thief quests. You can do 20 thief quests a week. When you're in a house, I recommend doing the 20 a week, if you can. Now, most houses, especially if you're a newer player, aren't going to be like, you have to do those 20 quests, because we realize it fucking sucks to try and do 20 a week when you've just started 2 weeks ago. It's not as easy as some of the veteran players. Like me, I have resources built up. I can sit here, go to my supplies. I have resources. Just from playing for so long. Now obviously, there is a maximum amount of resources. So, yeah. Now, next thing to keep in mind is these kits. These kits, if you have the right ones, will save you money. And what the kits are used for is you wind up using these guys in sieges, field battles, or in territory wars out in the open world, and when they die, you'll lose kits. So, with this, you wind up opening it, and because I don't have any Falconetti gunner kits, it cost me 3,000 to repair them. But that puts them back to full. Now, obviously, they won't be hurt until they fall below 50. And at that point, the game will flag it and tell you to repair them. So, you always want to keep an eye on that on the units you use constantly. So, yeah. I'm sure there's nothing else I'm forgetting. Next thing I want to go over is the store. We're just going to briefly go over this. If you want to purchase something, you just hit C. You can go over here, choose whatever. They'll sometimes have packs and stuff. Right now, they don't have anything special. And everything in here is just purchased with sovereigns. You can hit this button. It'll, if you're on Steam, which you most likely will be, it'll take you to Steam. You fill your wallet, purchase the sovereigns. There you go. But that's the rundown of the store. I'm not going to spend too much time with it. Next thing is if you want to join a house. Now, you'll normally get two options, the free houses, or I think it's called the cohorts. Yeah, it's just called the cohorts. And the cohorts are basically AI run houses. It's very similar to our house setup, except instead of our liege being, Midgi, which is a player, it would wind up being some AI, or basically developer ran houses. They don't really get involved. Cohorts are kind of seen as the casual thing to do. If you really want to get into the game, you join houses, the free houses. And there's a lot of options. So with houses, you can wind up doing quests for the house, help them out, and then you do these quests. It'll help the house along with give funds and give you bronze. And then you'll wind up getting these rewards as well. So those are options. And then territory wars. Now, territory wars could be summarized as a massive shit show of houses vying for control. So right now we're getting ready to join an alliance. Getting ready to join the Extinction Alliance with Mist and Hidden Order. As you can see, their territories are all orange because of the current negotiation we have with them, and we're getting ready to join their alliance. It's just we're currently on cooldown, and that's a whole diplomatic thing. But leaving that out of it, you can join a alliance with two other houses, and then you can start to slowly take over cities and villages. And at a certain point, if you're in a big enough house or alliance, you can try and take a capital. These only unlock at certain times during the season, but once they unlock and you capture one, you get the best rewards. Now, obviously, if you have some villages or some cities or something, you'll get rewards at the end of the week normally, but the big thing is getting the capital. That is basically the end goal for major houses. Capture and hold a capital until the end of the season to get that just absolutely amazing reward. And that's Territory Wars. Fight for control of land. And you go in organized with your house. It's extremely organized in the best circumstances. And it's a ton of fun. It's easily the most fun activity in this game, hands down. I haven't come across anything that I've enjoyed more than playing in territory war battles, especially with an organized house. Oh man, when you're sitting there with a 15, 20 man squad, because you can have what's called muster, basically guys on standby in case one of your team dies. The muster can come in and help. They'll take your spot, and you're just fighting to either take or hold a village or city, whatever you're currently fighting in. And the maps are different based on what you're fighting in. It's just so much fun. I recommend it. If you're coming into Conqueror's Blade, that should be your goal. That should be what you're trying to do, is get into territory wars. You'll have played sieges by now. Those are fun and all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to hate on sieges. I love playing sieges. But imagine a siege with a whole 15-man organized stack of your friends on your team. It's amazing. I love it. The amount of strategy and thinking and thought that goes into everything about territory wars is great. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you have a good one.